Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shakha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing and commenting. I appreciate the support. And if you're interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon or Ko-fi link. They're both in the description below. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about a question that someone asked me on my on the Millionaire Hippie website. And I thought it was a really interesting question because I've actually gone through the same situation as this person has. And so I thought it would be interesting for me to share my experience on it. I don't think I've done this particular part of my life previously. I haven't shared this particular part of it. So I think I have in little bits here and there, but not completely in a full structure. So I thought I'd do it in this video. So the individual asked me, I think he's originally from India, and he asked me a question about soul death. I've done a couple of posts on my website about it, about how I went through a transformational period. I went through a period of time where I felt like I was dead on the inside. I felt like a zombie. I was just kind of following the motions. I was doing things because I had to do them, because I needed to do them in order to stay alive or in order to live in the world, but I didn't really care about them. I literally felt just dead on the inside. And then as time went by, I started doing a bunch of different things in order to pull myself out of that black hole of depression and the spiral that I was in. And then so that's when I started doing all the different things I did, and I moved to Chiang Mai. I started working on all the different things that are my passion projects, and that's why I'm here right now. But in general, what I wanted to tell you guys is, first of all, what's soul death? Yeah. This is what he was asking about. Is like, okay, so I'm going through soul death right now. I basically feel like a zombie, basically feel like what I've spoken about just now. He was dead. He feels like that right now. He has no interest in anything. The only reason he eats any food is in order to keep himself alive. The only reason he does anything is just because he has to do it, because it's necessary to be alive on this planet, in order to have relationships or in order to just be an individual on this planet, right? There are certain things you have to do, the emotions that you have to run through in order to be alive and well here. So he's doing that, but he's wondering how to get out of it. Like he does all the things. He's like, I go to do yoga, I do all the spiritual works, and I'm meditating and all. I don't know if he said he meditated, but he does all the things, and he still feels like he's still deep in the mire, the pit of depression, the pit of being in soul death. And he's wondering to himself, or to me, he asked me the question, how can I get out of it? You know, how can I pull myself out of this pit of misery that he is enamored in right now? Now, a lot of times when people message me things like that, I always tell them that I am not a psychotherapist or a therapist of any sort or certified in any way. So I don't know exactly what kind of advice to give to people, but I can share my experience with you guys. And hopefully from there you can pull certain bits and tidbits of things where you can use that for yourself. But it doesn't mean that just because it worked for me, that'll work for you, of course, right? So I'm not giving advice here, I'm just sharing my experience of the same kind of thing that he went through. And hopefully from that, you guys as well, if you're going through that or are thinking about going through it, if you're going through it, then maybe you can use some of my experience for your own benefit, okay? All right, so basically I've kind of spoken a little bit about what soul death is. It's about, basically what happens is that there are two different paths that you can kind of follow on this planet, I believe. There's the path that you can follow where you follow the path of the world, right? It's the path of your family, it's the path of your ancestors, it's the path of your siblings, it's the path of your partner. It's the path that your parents tell you that, oh, this is what you should be doing with your life. It's the path that was told to me for the longest time. Go become a doctor. You're smart, you like science, and you can do it. You can get into med school, you can do it, you'll be a great doctor, you care about people, etc. So that's a path of the world. That's one path that most people end up following because they don't know exactly what other path to follow, and it's difficult to figure out what the other path should be, right? So that's the path of the world, and sometimes it's also the path that your partners tell you that, you know, your girlfriend's like, oh, I'm going to this university, and you're like, all right, yeah, cool, I'll just go to that university too because I don't have anything else better to do. Or the path of your siblings are all doing something, and you're like, well, I don't want to be left behind, so I'm going to do this as well. And this is how we kind of live our life. We follow the path of the world. There's also the other path, the path of your soul. And I found, for me, myself at least, that the path of the world doesn't jive with the path of my soul. My soul's path, my soul's journey is not in alignment with the path of the world that I was following. So I followed the path of the world for a long time. My parents told me from when I was born, when I was 3 years old, when I could start speaking, was that, you know, you're going to become a doctor. I couldn't become a doctor. My mom would say, and so you're going to fulfill that role for me. You're going to fulfill that dream of mine. My dad was like, yeah, great. You're going to make loads of money. So that's great. You can take care of yourself. So do it. Right. So that was a path of the world, and I followed it for a long time. Thankfully, I didn't get into med school. I've told you guys I failed three times, and it was great. It was perfect. And so I failed, and then I realized, all right, so I've been following the path of the world for a while now, following the path my parents laid down for me, and my teachers and my authority figures laid down for me. Great. It's not working out for me, obviously. It's not fulfilling in any way, shape, or form. So how about I try to figure out what my path is, what my soul's journey is, right? But still, there was this fear inside of me, and I was like, oh, I'm too afraid. I'm too afraid to follow my soul's journey. I'm too afraid to do what I really want to do, which is to live the way I'm living right now. But I was too afraid, so I kept on following the path of the world. I kept on, you know, I was like, maybe I'll get a master's. I got a master's. Maybe I'll go work in a corporation. I did that. Maybe I'll try to climb the ladder. I try to do that. And all of the different things, the path of the world that I was following, it left me unfulfilled, right? I mean, and I'm sure you guys know that feeling where you're doing everything right. You're living an amazing life according to the standards of the world. And you realize, yeah, this sucks. It's just not right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't motivate you, fulfill you, and excite you. There's no enthusiasm in it. There's no happiness. There's no contentment. Nothing. There's nothing there. You're just doing it. And so I would notice myself getting up every morning, dreading the fact that I have to go to work, going through the motions at work, not feeling happy about anything that I was doing at work, really not enjoying it. And that kind of lack of enjoyment transferred over to my boss calling me over and over again saying, okay, what's going on with you? You don't seem excited about your work. All your work is so shoddy. You're not doing a good job. I know this is not you. You're better than this. What's going on exactly, right? And so there'd be all these conversations going on between her and I would just feel like, okay, what's going on with me? I have this amazing job. It's a great boss and pays well. And why am I not feeling fulfilled, right? And so I realized after a while, after a long while, way too long basically, is that, yeah, that I wasn't following my soul's journey, the path of my soul. I was following the path of the world still, right? And my soul was basically unhappy. And that's when it started slowly but surely dying off, right? And I'm not saying souls ever die off, but internally it feels like soul death. It feels literally like you're dying on the inside. It feels like that deep, beautiful essence of yours is just being suffocated. It's literally, it doesn't have enough oxygen, and the oxygen it needs is the oxygen, the purpose. It needs a purpose to live. It needs to follow its journey, and it's not getting that, so it's suffocating. It's dying, right? And so what we want to do is to figure out that path of the soul, figure out what the soul wants to do, and then follow that, right? In order to prevent the soul death. But that's easier said than done, obviously. It's, oh my God, it's so much easier said than done. I can say it right now because I've gone through it, but it was so difficult because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what my soul wanted to do. I knew basically what I really, really wanted to do was I wanted to be creative. I wanted to write. I wanted to have a YouTube channel. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to be location independent, etc. I wanted to do all of these things. I had a list of things, but it was so fear-inducing that it took me 10 years of living the path of the world, not following the soul's journey, and doing all that stuff in order to get to a point where I was like, all right, this is enough. This is enough madness. I need to figure stuff out, and I need to do what I need to do. Otherwise, I literally am going to live like a zombie for the rest of eternity. And of course, that's not something that I wanted to do, at least for myself. I couldn't imagine that. I'd rather have been dead. I'd rather have committed suicide than live the way I was living, right? And I didn't want to commit suicide because I wouldn't do that to my family or to myself. And so I decided, all right, let's make some changes. Even if it doesn't work out in the bigger picture, at least I would have tried. At least I would have given it a push. At least I would have given it a go. And so that's when I kind of did all the different things that I've spoken to you guys about. I quit my job, moved to Chiang Mai, started all the different things and projects that I'm working on right now. Okay? So that's the essence of it. The essence of it is easy to say. But for this individual, obviously what my advice would be, And it's not something that you can just do today and then be done with it tomorrow. I think, unfortunately, it takes a long-ish time. Depends on what long means to you. I mean, if you consider how long our lives are, spending 5, 6, 10 years on figuring out what your purpose is absolutely paramount. It's absolutely necessary. In fact, it's the best way you can spend your time. It's the best use of your time on this planet. So basically, one of the main reasons why your soul is dying is because it's not living the path that it's supposed to be living. It's not on the journey that's supposed to be on. What's the solution? Figure out what that path is supposed to be. Take 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it might be, to figure out what your soul's journey is. What is it here to do? What does it want to do? What makes it excited, enthusiastic, content, happy to be here? And what does it really want to do? And then follow that path, right? Now, as I said, I just said it in like 2 sentences, but of course it's so much harder than that. It's so much harder to actually put it into fruition, put it into practice. It took me forever to do it, and I still have moments where I'm like, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? I still have to constantly be talking to my soul, constantly be making sure, all right, are we on the right path? Are we doing the right thing? Are we going in the right direction? Constantly having that back and forth conversation to make sure that yes, you're on the right path, or no, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're just distracting yourself, or you're just sabotaging yourself, right? So I hope this is kind of a basic explanation of soul death and soul journeys and things like that. I know I've been speaking a lot about these abstract terms recently, but I think it's so important, especially because of the fact that, you know, we are all on this journey with very limited time. I think it's very important for us to start right now rather than wait for some magical time in the future. If you guys have any questions about this or about any other topics I've done, please comment below or email me and I shall do a video on it. And of course, if you guys want to support me further, you can do that by going to my Ko-fi link. It's in the description below as well. I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.